Hi everyone, Sandy Trefger here. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. This video is for a tutorial on how to make the base of this particular style album. I will open this up and share it with you. First thing I want to say is this one has a 2-inch spine, and the collection that I used had a lot of chipboard pieces, ephemera to add in. So I would suggest, if you're going to use a lot of thicker embellishments, mine's okay because I can pull it tight. But if you want it a little bit flatter, not so much alligator here, I would make this a 2.5-inch spine and then space these 3-page sets out a little bit inside there. So that's the only recommendation I would have. So again, this is a tutorial of this. This is a project for Country Craft Creations that I designed using Cartabella's Farmhouse Christmas. It's a beautiful collection. I had the mega bundle, and so I had a lot of ephemera to use. I no way used all of it. My book would have been really thick. But anyway, this is the front. I did some embellishing with the chipboard pieces, like the flowers here, the joy, the little snowflakes that are up here. This is a sticker, and this is a frame from one of the frame packages, and I did lift it on some chipboard. I had a little fabric ornament stocking in my stash that I glued on. I've held on to it for a while and thought it was perfect for this. This is a Prima Poinsettia that I added on. This string here comes from the little stocking. I added a bow with some of the ribbon I used, and it has a tie closure with some trim, white braided trim, and some cranberry seam binding ribbon that I got from Country Craft Creations. So check the store at Country Craft Creations for the supplies. I did use their artisan cardstock and the art glitter glue and score tape to create this album. So I'm going to open this up, turn on a little bit of music, and just show you the inside. So this is my album that I designed for Country Craft Creations using Cardstock's Farmhouse Christmas. I have a tutorial immediately after the intro on this video, so stay tuned. To assemble the 6" by 8.5" 2" spine album that has 3 page sets using the L hinge, you might want to get you a notebook to write your notes in. I have mine all written down. This is what I cut my pieces by that are already pre-cut. I will be sharing those with you, the measurements and the scoring. I'll also have down in the description where you click on show more, the cutting list that will list the measurements as well down there, and then you can copy and paste and print those out if you want. I'm going to be using the Farmhouse Christmas Mega Bundle, which gave me 12 sheets of 12 by 12 pattern papers. That's one of each print, and then 6 each of the 12 by 12 solids that come in a separate package. If the Mega Bundle is no longer available, check to see on Country Craft Creations if you can still order some of the single papers. I'm going to use 2 medium weight 12 by 12 chipboard pieces. Actually, if you make a lot of albums, you can use just one for your main, 12 by 12 for your main pieces, and then look in your scrap so that you can cut one 2" by 8.5" so that you don't have to cut into a full second sheet of chipboard. For the cardstock, I counted up for my tags and my pages and flips and flaps and pockets. I use 16 each of the 12 by 12, and I'm going to go with craft for this project. I'm going to be using my art glitter glue. You're going to want your trimmer, your scoreboard, and also your scissors and your scoring tool and bone folders. So let's get started on this. So let's do the chipboard covers first. The front, you're going to cut 2 each out of medium weight chipboard, 6 by 8.5. And then to wrap these, and we're using Tamara's of Country Craft Creations method of wrapping. Easiest way to make album covers, but you're going to need 2 cardstock for your cover wrap. You need 2 that are 8" by 10.5. So I'm also using the newest tool that you can get at countrycraftcreations.com. These are album cover spacers. These are made out of acrylic plastic. They're brightly colored so you don't lose them. This one, the wider one, you get 2 to the set. You get 2 1" wide by 12 and 1 1.5" by 12. You'll see the reason why you only get one of these, because you only need to use one of the 1.5 at a time. So let's lay our paper down first. One of your 8 by 10.5, and then you're going to put a spacer in. It fits perfectly right here in on your scoreboard, and then one on the left side like that. And then we're going to take this 6 by 8.5, and we're going to glue it down. You can use score tape sheets or score tape strips, but I'm going to use glue. I'm going to put it right in here. You butt it up right up against the spacer, right up here on this top one, and it gives you a perfect 1" space all the way around on your cardstock. So I'm going to put down glue on mine. I put it on the back of the chipboard, and you use whatever adhesive you like to attach yours down. Burnish it with my hands to make sure that I get it done. Lift these up. I'm going to flip it over. Take my Cricut spatula tool, and I'm just going to burnish over that. Make sure it all sticks down and it's smooth. So that's if you're using a good quality cardstock and you burnish that down, you're going to have a smooth surface there for that cover. Set that aside, grab the second one, do the same thing. Okay, for the spine wrap, you have one piece that is a 5 by 10.5, and you have one piece of chipboard for a 2" spine that is 2" wide by 8.5 tall. So we fit this in as well. You use only one of your 1" spacers at the top, and then you're going to use your 1.5 at the side, so that when you place this in, you're going to have 1.5 on each side, but 1 inch on the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and glue this one on. And the next step, we will wrap these 3 pieces. We're done with these, so we can put these up. I just keep mine on a little bucket container here that I have on my workspace. Okay, so there we go. We're going to wrap these next. Okay, once we have the chipboard attached to the cardstock wraps, take your bigger pieces and we're going to fold up on all 4 sides. Get that crease line, just like that. To fold it up. And then you're going to see where the squares are here in the corner. And you can just cut out the squares, or you can do an angle cut. I like to do an angle cut. So into the tip of the corner and then from both directions. Like that, just cut it out. And then I fold it and check to see if I've cut enough off. So it looks like I did. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all 4 sides. To miter these, because you want to wrap it and make it look really neat. So I'm just checking here, just a little extra right there. Okay, that's better. And then the other side. Now you can use score tape to attach these edges down, or you can use art glitter glue. I'm going to use art glitter glue on mine. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down. And I like to attach the long sides first and then the short sides. So I'm going to take this one here, pin up, and I put a line of glue right along the chipboard to make sure I get a good coverage in there, and then glue on the flap of the cardstock. Bring that over and burnish it down. Wipe off any excess glue. There's always some there down in the corners that's going to ooze out. Okay, so that's one long side, and then I'll do the other the same way. Bring that over and burnish. Okay, now I'm going to check again. Now here, if you have any extending over, you want to just kind of bring it in with your bone folder or your fingernail. I don't have much overhang on mine. So go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, so now you have a wrapped cover piece. I've already done the other one, so I have 2 of these ready, and now I'm ready to do the spine section. So we're going to fold this up here at the top. And the bottom. I'm going to turn it over, and I want to burnish along the chipboard on this cardstock side so that you can see the groove here. Do it on both sides. I'm sorry if the camera shakes because my camera stand is attached to the table. Okay, so now you see the indentions of where I scored the chipboard, so it kind of pressed that cardstock down. So let's turn this over, and we're going to fold this. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and cut out this section. I'll fold it this way so I can see it good. These 2 sections that we don't need. We're going to eliminate some bulk here. Turn that. We're going to cut out the 4 rectangles in each corner. So you don't have to miter if you don't want to. I'm going to go all the way straight up and straight up on the score line and the fold line on each one. And then this way. And the last one. Try to cut that straight. Okay. Let's get rid of this trash. Now then, these flaps here is what we're going to fold over. And we're going to glue them down. So that's wrapping the end piece of our spine section. I'm sticking over a little bit more than I want, so I'm just going to trim this off right here. Okay, double check this side. It looks fine. So maybe a little bit right there. I'm going to wrap this. And burnish those. Okay, so now we have the end of the chipboard wrapped. I'm going to turn this over again and burnish again. Create that valley. Okay, so this is the finished side. So our, make sure this is folded as much as I want it to be. Okay, so this is our finished side. So our covers are going to fit right in up against that chipboard. Okay, on both sides, just like that. So I'm going to put glue, and I like to stay about 1/8 of an inch away from the fold here. I'm going to put glue on the rest of it. And let's take this and put it right up against it. Push it right up against, burnish there. Flip it over and burnish. Okay, turn it over. We're going to do the other side the same way. About 1/8 of an inch line away from the fold of the spine, from the center of the spine. And glue here. And decover. Again, butt it up all the way. Get it even. And if I see what I think is a little bit of glue, I take this real thin edge here and just kind of wipe that out. And then turn it over and burnish from the inside. Okay, now when we fold it, we have our album cover done. So we're ready to do some things on the inside. So on the inside, we need to cover the center section here, and I cut a piece of cardstock out of the craft that is 5 inches wide, and I cut mine at 8 7/16 because I want it right on the edge. 7/16 is just a 16th under 8.5. So I want to look at it really well and make sure that it's covering almost to the edge of my cover. And I notice here on my hinge attachment here, I got a little bit sticking out that I don't want, so I'm cutting that off. Make sure, I must have put it on just a little bit crooked. So now then, that looks better. I'm going to look at this and see, and it should line up perfectly in there. The reason I've got score tape sheets on the back instead of using glue is, though I love glue, if you put it where it's going to be bending and it's not completely solid, it can start bubbling and look really, really bad there on the inside. So you don't want that. So I do use solid score tape strips or these score tape sheets. So I had some scraps here of the score tape sheets that I'm using. I have this one long piece, and then I have 2 shorter pieces. That gives me full coverage of the whole piece. And this again is a 5 wide by 8 7/16. So I'm going to line this up right over my piece here. So it's going to cover this center spine section. It's going to cover the fold, and it's going to come all the way out to where these 2 wings attached. Lay it down and then burnish really well. Sure that it sticks good. And I'm just going to gently fold up. Take my wider tipped bone folder and just gently burnish there in that fold line. It's going to fold in both sides. Just going to bend it, gently burnish. Get a good fold. Do this other side again. Looks like it needs a little more. And then I'm going to bend it. And there is no bending out here, so you won't have any cracking on this edge here. And it's just going to bend in here. And you've got your valleys in here of your spine. So this is your spine section for your pages. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pattern paper here on my front and the back. And I chose this piece from the collections called Poinsettia Floral. And I'm going to use the poinsettia side. So I'm going to put this in the front and the back. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do this, pattern this, is because we're going to build on some pockets that need to be, these need to be added in before the pockets are attached down. So I'm going to use glue on this. I'm going to go ahead and add pattern paper to the front and back inside covers. You can choose whatever pattern paper you want for yours. I am going to be trying to stretch out my pattern paper as much as possible. Now this is cut. I didn't give you the measurements. I will give you that in just a second. 5 7/8 wide by 8 3/8 tall. I wanted like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So again, this pattern paper for the front and the back on the inside is 5 7/8 wide by 8 3/8 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish this one down. This is a really pretty paper. I love the colors of it. So then we're going to go ahead and attach this one down, which is the same size. Okay, so now I wasn't planning on putting any pattern paper here, as I'm trying to conserve paper because my pages are going to be going in here. I'm going to use the L hinge, so I'll cover on top of those probably. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my pattern papers to the outside so that I can give you those measurements. I'm not going to be doing all the patterning of everything with you on the video, but the part of the cover, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the neat thing about this cover is you can open it up flat, this design. So we have 2 of these. I'm going to use the green dots, and I'm going to do the same all the way across. And these 2 are cut 5 7/8 by 8 3/8, just like the inside ones, and the spine is actually cut at 2 inches wide by 8 3/8. Now you're going to need to check this and make sure that it doesn't overhang anywhere, and I think it's going to work out fine with a 2 inch. You can trim it down just a hair if you wanted to. Go ahead and put these down. And this piece that I'm using is called Christmas Signs. These are from the Echo Park Farmhouse Kitchen collection. I wanted something on the front, not so busy a print, so I went with the green dots so that whatever I add to the front will be the focal point, not so much the paper. I love the paper. Put it on as straight as you can and burnish that down. And do the other big side. And finally, the centerpiece here. There we go. Okay, so there's the cover with the paper on the outside, the 2 insides, and we've left this space blank. So next we'll probably go ahead and work on our pages, and the additional flap to each. We'll have 3-page sets, so we'll work on that next. Okay, for our page sets, we're going to do 3-page sets. We need 3 base pages cut out of the cardstock. So I cut 3 that are 6 by 8, and we're going to score the 6-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So I've already done mine, but you just put your 6-inch in at the top, take your scoring tool, and here at the 1/2 inch mark, make a score on all 3. This 1/2 inch will be your L hinge for your page to attach into your book. I've used these for several years, have had no trouble with them as far as being strong enough for all the things I add in. Of course, if you prefer the hidden hinge method, you would have to go find instructions on that and adjust your pages and your hinge according to that to fit in this album. So these 3 will be the L hinge method. Then we need 3-page flaps. These are full page flaps. You need 3 that are cut 5 3/4 by 8. 5 3/4 by 8. Put your 5 3/4 side in at the top. Score at a 1/2 inch on all 3. So I've already done that on all of mine. Oh, sorry. 1/2 inch. Almost forgot. Score at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. I was wondering why I had an extra score line. I forgot that. I want this little extra 1/4 inch spacing in there to accommodate. So they all have that. So when you fold it up, you have your 1/4 inch space like that. So let's grab our pages again, and we're going to attach these flaps to our pages. So I grab just one flap and one page, and they're going to attach on. Flip this around this way. So fold and burnish both score lines, and then you're going to flatten it down so that you just see your 1/2 inch one here. And this is what's going to attach onto your page here. They're all going to attach to the cut side opposite of the faux line of your hinge. So like fold your hinge. So you don't want to attach on the fold side. You want to attach to the cut side. And you're going to attach this to the right side of each page. So I just put glue here on this 1/2 inch here. Put a good amount. I prefer glue for my hinges instead of score tape. And then you're just going to line it up nice and straight. Got this little 1/4 inch one showing here. So go ahead and burnish that in there like that. Burnish on the inside, clean up any glue that may use out. And you have your flap attached nice and straight. So then you reposition your little 1/4 inch, and it positions like that so that you have a space over here on the left side so that it opens easily like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 off camera, and this is how you assemble your basic construction of your base pages. Okay, we're going to start building on page set 1 first. So we're going to do this flap probably last. This one's going to be really easy. It's just going to be patterned and have a large photo, a mat on it. So let's open up to the inside. We have our hinge to the left. You open your flap up, you see your 1/4 inch space here. So you want to make sure that nothing goes over that fold there on the inside where that 1/4 inch is. And we're going to make a set of double pockets. So you need to cut from your cardstock 2 pieces that are 4 by 6. 2 pieces that are 4 by 6, and then you're going to score on your 6-inch side at a 1/2 inch and at 5 1/2. Or you can turn and do another 1/2 inch, but I just like to go ahead and do them both at the same time. Then turn so that your 4-inch side is at the top and make 1/2 inch, one score at a 1/2 inch. So let me word that better for you. One score line at the 1/2 inch mark with the 4-inch at the top. So you do that for both of them. So I'm going to do it on this one. You got your 6-inch here. I'm scoring at 5 1/2 and at a 1/2 inch. I'm turning it and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on the bottom edge. Right there. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut out these 2 little corners here at an angle to remove the bulk there with the pockets going to fold and attach. So cut both these out. I'm going to fold it under and just check and see, and I think I need a little more cut there. You want them to kind of just meet and not necessarily overlap any. So there we go, like that. So see how the 2 lines just kind of meet there? That gives you less bulk there in that pocket. So double check the other side, and again, this one is way too far up. There we go. Now then it's better. A little bit on the other one. So now that pocket's ready. So you do that for both pockets. However, this one here, I should mention, this is a placement line, so do not bend, do not fold that one. You just fold the 2 sides. I'll go ahead and do this one with you. I was going to turn the camera off. So fold it like this. Leave this score line flat. Do not fold. It's going to be a placement line. And go ahead and cut your corners out. And see how that goes. It's not going to be an issue that much, so it's clear like that. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we're going to show you how to put them on the page. So grab this. Again, we have the flap, the hinge to the left. Open your flap. We're going to put the pockets right in here on this side. So I'm going to put the first one down. Just double check. It should fit right in there without going over your 1/4 inch. Turn it over so that you see the back sides of your pocket. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all 3 flaps. Attach this one down here at the bottom. Make sure it lines up. You want it, the fold of the pocket right along the edge of the bottom edge here, and then go ahead and get it attached in and make sure it's not over your 1/4 inch. So I've made sure that my pocket is as far over as I can get, so it's a really tight fit in here, and go ahead and then burnish down all the edges. Then take your second one, and where you have this that's not folded under, this is going to go slide into this pocket, and that's where it's going to stop. So the top of this one fits right there. So we go ahead and we put glue along the 2 folded hinges, back sides here. And then to seal this up, we're going to put glue on the back side of this flat hinge, just in the hinge area. So turn it, insert this pocket down into there. Make sure your folds are staying where they belong, so that it goes all the way and stops, the top edge stops at that score line. Go ahead and make sure It all fits here on the sides. Burnish that down. And then reach in there and burnish that flat part in there so that you have an open pocket here and an open pocket here. Now, I should have, if I wanted a notch here in this pocket, done a notch at this time. I did not. If you're going to use the envelope punch board, you would punch it before you glue it in, or you can use your circle punch. So I'm going to grab a circle punch and I'm going to put a little notch right there. Okay, so it's definitely easier to do it before you attach the pocket, but you can still get that in there. And I'm just going to eyeball it, make sure it's kind of center, and I want it just halfway punch. So this is a 3/4 inch punch. So that gives me a pocket notch there. And then I think I will go ahead and match it down here. It will be covered with paper, and I want to kind of make sure they're lined up the same. So I'm going to take my ruler in the center of that one, pencil, and I'm going to put a center mark right here so I can line up my punch and get them pretty close. So I have notch here, notch here. Now you see the little score line there? That will be covered with paper. Now we're going to make us I call it a decorative flap here at the top. So I've already got mine drawn out and cut. Now you're going to want one piece that is 4 by 5 out of your chipboard. I mean your cardstock. Sorry, you cut one out of cardstock 4 by 5 for your double pocket flap for page set 1. Then you're going to take your pencil and ruler, and opposite the fold line, just fold that under. You're going to, on the far right side, take your ruler and put a mark at that's 1 1/4. Okay, I forgot to tell you to score your pocket, so we'll do that too. So put a pencil mark at 1 1/4 and another one at 1 1/4 here. So before you do that, kind of jump the gun here, take your pocket piece, put your 4-inch side in at the top, and score at a 1/2 inch to get that 1/2 inch fold. So that's what I had. So fold that under, burnish that, then take your ruler. You can use this here or your other ruler. So it measures, pencil mark at 4 1/4. Then take your ruler, and I did mine in dashes, so I know that that's the cut line. From the corner of the fold to the pencil mark, mark your line, and do it on both sides the same. From the corner of the fold to your pencil mark, mark your line. And that's where you're going to cut. You can cut with scissors, or you can cut with your trimmer. Let me grab my scissors because I have them handy here. And so you just keep the fold folded down, the hinge folded down, and just cut right along that line. And that gives us a fun flap for this page. Throw these away. So grab your page, and you're going to glue your flap right along the top edge. Now if you want to put it behind and make it use that your cut edge as a placement, you can put your glue on your inside and then glue it to the back side. So let's do that. So let's take our hinge, and on the inside put your glue. See that? So there it folds up, there's the glue. But take your page flap and put the fold line of the flap all the way in, and then make sure the edge starts at the 1/4 inch and at the edge over here. So put it in, get it nice and straight, wipe off your glue. Let's burnish it, and turn it and burnish. So that's our flap there. Now you'll notice, you'll see in here, you're going to have patterned paper that will show. So it gives you a glimpse of a little bit of the paper. And you can use a magnet if you want. I am not. I have cut a 4x5 piece of cardstock. It's going to have something decorative here, and that's going to slide in there, and that's going to hold it down. So that's how that pocket on the inside works. So next we'll do what the element that we have here on this left side, and then we'll finish up here on the outside for page set 1. For the other side, inside of the page set 1, we're going to make a unique section for loose photo mats. This is my prototype album done in Halloween. It's going to have a magnetic piece here that lifts up, and then we have these angled flaps like this, and then we're going to have these angled flaps here, and then we have loose mats here on the inside. So these are really easy to make, so don't panic, okay? It took me a while to get the design, but I really like how it turned out. So we've got to cut 2 pieces of cardstock. We're cutting in the whole piece first, and then we cut it in half to make the flaps. So we need one at 6.5 by 8. 6.5 by 8. And you're going to put your 6.5 inch side in at the top of your scoreboard. Score at 6 and at a half. Now this gives you the hinge for both of these flaps. So next we're going to fold these under. This is the side flaps that we're making. We're going to fold both under, and we're going to cut it in half. So open up your flaps again. Sorry about that, because let me double check. Yeah, open up your hinges so you have your 6.5 at the top. So half of 6.5 is 3 1/4. So you put this in your trimmer, and we're going to cut this at 3 1/4. So do that right quick. Remember, your hinged pieces, your score section should not be folded under. So we cut the whole piece at 3 1/4. So we have 2 pieces that match. Then we take our pencil and our ruler, and on this left one, we got the hinge to the left, so go ahead and fold that hinge under, and you're going to measure 1 1/4 inch again from the top right edge of this to right here. Make a mark, then turn your ruler, put the one in at the corner down here, and we're going to draw a line to the pencil mark. And then you're going to do the same on this one, except at the bottom you're going to measure from the bottom up at 1 1/4. You're going to put your pencil mark, and you're going to take the ruler from the folded edge point, draw a line out. Then you take your scissors or use your trimmer with this hinge folded under, cut right along your line. And that gives you that angled side flap. So I'm going to erase my writing off of it. So that's my left side flap. Got that angle in there. Do the same with this one. You're going to mark at 1/4 inch from the top edge, right here, and then you're going to mark at 1 1/4. Did I say 1/4 inch? 1 1/4 inch on both, from the both top and edge, and then you're going to fold that hinge. Fold your hinge under, because we're going to make our cut from the point to the line. Mine was off a little bit here, so from the point to the line, and again from the point to the pencil mark. Take your scissors You're going to cut, which also cuts your hinge underneath there. Cut the line. Okay, so that's your right side flap. I'm going to small most of all this. Cover it with paper, but along the edges, I want to erase it. So if you take notes on your cardstock, anywhere it might show, go ahead and erase those off before you put anything in. So there is our left and right side flaps. So we're going to take the other piece of cardstock. We're going to cut this down to 5.5 by 9. 5.5 by 9. Put your 9-inch piece in at the top. Score at 8.5 and at a 1/2 inch. Okay, with it opened up like this, 9 inches across, half of that is 4.5. 4.5 is your halfway point. So take this to your trimmer and cut at 4.5 with the hinges unfolded. So there's our half mark. This is going to be the same thing. Now we're going to fold our fold line. Take your pencil, opposite the fold, put your ruler on here, and you're going to mark from the top at 1 1/4, and from the bottom you're going to mark 1 1/4. My ruler keeps hanging here. There we go. That there. Get your pencil mark, and then mark from your fold to your pencil mark and get your line drawn. And again, from the corner of the fold to your pencil mark, draw a line. And you do the same thing here. I've marked down to 1 1/4, 1 1/4 opposite the fold. From the fold, mark a line, mark a line. Now I'm going to cut it with my scissors. So just take your big scissors, are easier to cut straight lines. You don't have to move the scissors as much. There's that one. And the other to the point of the fold. And there is your angle for the top and the bottom. So let me erase all that. And we'll be ready to add them into the page set 1. So go ahead and erase any lines that might show. Okay, we cleaned that up. So there is our all 4 flaps for inside our book, side ones and the top ones. Okay. Okay, so once you have your pieces cut with your folds, folded up and burnished, then you're ready to put them into page set 1. So here's page set 1. This is with it folded up. So take your flap and open it, and across from this pocket, double pocket that we made, we're going to add this element here. So I'm going to put the long ones down first. Now you're going to notice your 1/2 inch hinge from the other flap here. You're just going to stack this one right on top. So take your glue, apply it to the back side of your flap, your 1/2 inch hinge flap. And I'm going to turn this so I can see it a little better. So I'm looking at my score line. I've got a 1/2 inch hinge here. So look at my score line. I've got my 1/4 inch here. Make sure you don't put it over into the 1/4 inch. And you're going to line up, tip the pointy corner down here at the very bottom and the other one at the top, and make sure it's straight. and then burnish that down, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to turn this all the way around so you have your 1/2 inch hinge. This is your page hinge to put it in your book. Make sure it's folded, and you're going to attach this other one across from it, and the same thing, point to point. Okay, so glue on the back side. I'm going to put this down right here with your hinge folded under. Backside to backside, and burnish that. Make sure your fold is lined up with the fold of the hinge. Burnish. So there's that, like that. Okay, and then we want to put these here at the top and one at the bottom. So same thing, fold this back, put your glue in this hinge, and then line this up tip to other side right here. You want the fold of the flap along the cut edge of your page here, just like that. Burnish that, and then let's add the bottom one. I'm going to turn it all the way around. Glue on that 1/2 inch. Turn it sideways here, and then tip to tip where it fits in. So it's going to fit in between these two here. So make sure you get it straight. Lined up the fold of the flap to the top edge of the page, and burnish that down. So that's the way it looks now. You'll pattern all of this in here, and you'll bring all this in like this, and the magnets are going to be attached to a piece that is that fits down on that. So I'm going to grab that, and then we'll put the magnets down so you can see where they go. Okay, for this closure piece, you need one piece that's cut 4 by 6. You could make it a little bigger if you wanted to actually put a 4 by 6 photo on that. You could cut it 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. But I was working with scraps, so I did mine 4 by 6. You're going to want 2 magnet sets, 2 pluses and 2 minuses. So you put a plus and a minus together with the paper side out, and you're going to take your 4 by 6 piece, and on one side you're going to put a magnet on the top and the bottom. So I'm just peeling the paper off, trying to. So I'm going to stick this one down about 3/4 of an inch or so, whoops, from the top, and center it. Okay, and then the other one. Okay, press them down and then take the backing off. We've got 2 magnets stuck together right now. Okay, now we're going to close this up. Put the long ones in first, and then these 2 here. And you're going to want to take this and center it the best you can, top to bottom, side to side, so it's kind of equal looking, and press down. Okay, then gently separate the magnets. There we go. And to secure them in place until you put your pattern paper down, go ahead and take some score tape and just secure them in place. So now we're ready for the back side of page set 1. And I have my paper in chipboard cut. So we're going to have another flap here. And this is a vertical flap, and it's cut at 4 by 8. You're going to score the 4-inch side at just ½ inch to make a hinge for attachment. Score your 4-inch side at ½ inch. Go ahead and fold and burnish. Grab your page. So this is the back side. Okay, I'm looking. You want the back side. This is the front side. So you have your hinge here. You're going to flip this completely over. So you have your hinge on the right. This flap goes on this back side right here. Okay, so just take your glue. And again, I like to use glue because I think it's stronger than the score tape. Score tape used to be my favorite, but then after a few years, some things started coming apart. Now you're going to need to pay attention that you're putting this down along the edge of this 1/4 inch piece. You don't want it going over. Okay. Yeah, right there. So you kind of flatten that down so you can see it. Burnish that in. So you have a flap here, and then you have your 1/4 inch space right here. Mine's not laying quite right. Okay, so there's that. So this is a flap. I don't have it. Yeah, it's attached down with a magnet, so I was thinking that it did. So we're going to take a magnet set, just one. You only need one for this. A minus and a plus, put them together, paper side out. Peel everything off. And I'm going to put this on the flap about 3/4 from the edge. Center it. Take this, peel that backing off again. And these are the basic gray large magnetic snaps that you can order from Country Craft Creations. Press that down, lift and separate, and cover with some score tape. Okay, there's that. That closes up like that. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and put pattern paper on this because I want to go ahead and show you the belly band. So for this section, which ends up being 3.5 by 8, I cut a piece that is 3 3/8 by 7 1/8. Make sure. And that's because I want about 1/8 of an inch. So I think this is 7 7/8, maybe off a little bit. So I'm going to cut it again. That's correct. So this is going to glue right down here on this side. I'm just using the green solid, or you can use the red. This is from the solids that coordinate. Got the green. I'll put my glue on. And again, I'm just patterning right now, patterning the pieces that need to be done as I'm constructing. I'm not really finishing everything right now. Okay, so line that up and burnish that down. I'm going to open it up and lay it flat so I can burnish it. You do have a slight little bump because that magnet's on the other side, but it's not noticeable. with these thicker papers like this. So then let that close. And then I cut a piece cardstock that is 1.5 by 8. And this is going to be a belly band right here. So you're going to put glue just on each end, a line of glue, top and bottom. And then go ahead and glue this centered to this flap. Get it on straight. Okay, let that dry. You can slide things underneath. And then I cut a piece from the scrap of the poinsettia paper, and it is 1 3/8 by 7 7/8, and it's going to glue right here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now since I have it cut. And I'm using the striped side. Okay, now you will be able to add inserts under here that you make. We're going to do that later, or I will later. So that is page set 1, assembled but not patterned yet. So we're going to assemble the other 2. And then I will, after that, pattern mine off camera and get them ready to go in the book, and then I'll show you how to put them in your album. For page set 2, we're going to take another one of our page sets, and we're going to work on this front flap first. So we're going to add a short horizontal pocket for the front of this flap, and so you need 1 piece of cardstock cut at 6 inches by 2.5, and we're going to score the 6-inch side at 5.5 and 1/2 inch. Turn it so that you can score the 2.5-inch side at 1/2 inch. So this is going to give us a 2-inch tall pocket. So take your scissors and angle cut out your corners. Fold it up, make sure I'm cutting out enough. Move this away. So when you fold it up, kind of meets up there in the corner. Okay, so that's your pocket that's going to fit on that flap. And then you need a top flap. I'm on a top flap. So we cut out 1 piece of cardstock at 4 inches by 4.5. And on the 4.5-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. This will give us a 4x4 flap once the 1/2 inch hinge is folded up like that. Now you can decorative punch your corners. Right now I'm not going to. I'm going to leave this for a photo. So I'm going to grab this page set 2, the basic. And before we put our pocket on, we're going to have to go ahead and pattern this flap. So I have cut my pattern paper. I picked the snowflakes with the black and white plaid. You got the snowflakes. I like the snowflakes really well. I like them both, but I'm going to use this for the Christmas book. So open this up since you've got your flap here. You want to make sure that you're not going to cover the 1/4 inch section. So this should fit over here. So this was cut at 4 7/8 by 7 7/8. So that's going to fit right in there. I'm just dry fitting it to make sure that it does not go over my 1/4 inch. So I'll take my glue and I'm going to just glue this down. Close to the edge here, to the left, so that this 1/4 inch is left free. So go ahead and burnish that down. There's that flap. Still got the 1/4 inch on the right. So then we're going to take this flap here, and it's going to go to the top, but I'm going to put the glue on the inside. So I'm just going to put the glue here on the inside of my flap, and with this pattern paper here, I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to line this up. Now there's no magnet. Center that, so there's about a 1/2 inch on either side here. Let's burnish that, clear up any glue. So there's that flap there. I'm going to burnish it on the back side as well. And now the pocket is going to go here. So I'm going to put it about 1 inch from the bottom. Okay, it's going to fit between the cut edge on the left and that 1/4 inch right there. So let's put the glue on the back side of our hinge pieces. Whoops, about 1 inch from the bottom. Make sure it's straight. Now what we're going to do is we'll have a tag in here that will hold this down. So let me see. I don't know if I've already cut one or not, so we'll wait on that. So now we're going to go ahead and work on the inside. Well, let's work on the back side. The back side, we're going to have a waterfall. Okay. So we're going to need to also pattern this before we put those elements on. But let's make our waterfall. So we're going to turn it this way so we know where we're working. We have the fold here, the hinge here on the right. So this is the back side. Always pay attention to make sure you don't do anything upside down. Okay, so let's get our waterfall pieces first. We need the base and some flaps. A bottom closure and a top closure. Okay. So to create this, the first thing we're going to do is make as a base. So we're going to cut one at 4 inches by 9. And you're going to score at 8.5 and at a 1/2 inch. So that's going to be the base of your waterfall. So go ahead and fold that up. I'm going to erase these notes here. They won't show, but I'm going to go ahead and erase them. Now for your waterfall flaps, we need 8 that we have cut to 4 by 4.5. You're going to score on each of these. I've already done all of mine, but you're going to score each one. Put the 4.5 in at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. And this is going to give you your waterfall pieces here. We'll attach those in just a minute. Let's do our closure piece. So we want one that is 6 inches by 3. This will be our bottom closure flap. And we're going to score on the 6 inch side at 1/2 inch and 3/4 to get us a 1/4 inch space there, like that. Okay, and then we need the top closure piece is going to be 4.5 inches long by 1.5, and we're going to score the 4.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 3/4 as well. Now we're going to need to punch the corners. I'm going to use the rounder. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch size. So the 2 corners opposite of your score lines Just punch your corners. It's a 1/4 inch. Maybe I want 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch looks good. So I've got the 1/4 inch size. And opposite these 4 lines, the 2 corners, just punch. Okay. That quick and that easy, so we can set these aside for right now and go ahead and work on our waterfall piece. Grab my mat. So what you want to do is you want to fold and burnish all 8 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up the camera and do all of 8 of my waterfall flaps. Okay, so we have all 8 of these scored, folded, and burnished. They're ready to be attached to our waterfall base. Got them all in order here. Okay, so take your waterfall base. Make sure you burnish the score lines really well. Get a nice, crisp piece here because this is going to fit within here, and you're just going to attach the 2 1/2 inches after we add our pattern paper. So that should fit really nicely in there. So you're going to take your waterfall piece, let's line this up. I like to use the mat, make sure it goes all the way up, all the way to the side. Grab your first waterfall piece, and you're going to add glue to the 1/2 inch hinge on the back. And you're going to take the fold line and make sure this is straight in here. Line it up all the way up to the top and within your fold, your base here. Make sure it's straight. First one's real important to get it straight. Burnish. Lift up and burnish. Now then. For some reason mine is just a tiny bit over here. I may have cut it wrong. Let me see. It's supposed to be 4. I'm just going to trim a tiny bit off. So I just lined it up at 4 and trimmed that off. It was off just a little bit there. So now that's better. Now then, you lift this top flap up, this first one, and you take your second one and you're going to glue it down right along this edge of that hinge. So there's a 1/2 inch space there. So put your glue on the back of your hinge flap. Line up the fold of that flap right up to the line of the first one. So you should have the fold of the first one, 1/2 inch in the middle, and then the next waterfall. So then you flip it up and you repeat again by gluing this down and always making sure. I like to fold them and make sure they're straight. If you need to adjust a little bit, if it's glue, you can, or sometimes you can just pull it a little bit and do it with fold a little better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do all of these. I'm going to speed up the video and go ahead and get all these done. Okay, so we have all 8 on. And you will notice I'm going to go ahead and burnish everything again to really make sure everything lays in there nice and flat. So when you get to the very last one that you put in, you will notice you still have this space here that's a little bit bigger, so that you have this 1/2 inch. We'll pattern this one solid, and then probably pattern this one solid, and the rest I usually put like an inch strip, so I'm not using the whole thing, or 1/2 inch, whichever works best for you, 3/4. And then you have this craft left for your photos. That conserves paper. So here we have the unit of the waterfall assembled. So let's grab our page set 2, and we're on the back side, so we have the hinge to the right. We're going to make sure we have this bigger flap at the top, so our pocket is open here. And I forgot to punch this one again, so I'm going to do that right quick. Just insert this circle punch kind of in the center and get me a notch. Since I started notches on the other pockets, I'm going to continue that here. So we have that. So we turn it over. We have the page here on the back. So let's grab our pieces that we made for our closure piece. We want the small one at the top and the bigger one at the bottom. So I'm going to flatten this so that I just see my 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to put the glue on there. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. We do this before we put the pattern paper. So I'm centering this. Make sure your fold is along straight right here on this bottom of the page. Center it in the middle. Burnish that. And then when you open it up, you'll reposition that little 1/4 inch. So it has a 1/4 inch space right there. Now this one's going to go at the top. So again, flatten it so you just see your 1/2 inch. And we're going to put the glue on that little piece. I'll turn this so I can see it better. This is going to go to fold at the very top, and I am going to center this best I can here. Equal amounts of each side, and make sure the fold is along the top edge of the page. Open it up and burnish, and then realign your 1/4 inch so you have this like this. So this is going to need a magnet here, so I need to grab some more, and I'll be right back to do that. And I'm also going to pick out my pattern paper. So I've decided on this plaid for this section here. And this has been cut to 5 3/8 by 7 7/8. So this goes right here between these closure pieces. So I'm going to put glue on the back side. And we'll go ahead and attach this down so we can add our waterfall piece. So this piece, again, is cut at 5 3/8 by 7 7/8. So you can burnish that in there. Laying down nice and flat. Oh, no, we're good. I thought I had forgot the magnets, but we're good. Okay, so there's that. Next is the waterfall piece. So you do want your flaps opened up like this. And this is going to sit right in here. And so your glue is, this is going to be a belly band waterfall. So your glue is only going to go on your 1/2 inch tabs, flaps here on the back. Okay, so put your glue on both of them at the same time, or one at a time if that makes it easier for you, whichever works the best for you. So I'm going to turn this again, And you want to make sure that this is at the top. Checking my flaps here. So you want the waterfall folds to be here at the top. And so I'm just going to line this up, center it from top to bottom, and this should fit all the way up to the top of your edge and all the way down here to the bottom. Right here, right here. Let me look at my spacing. I need to adjust it real quick to get it even on the right and left space. Okay, so then we burnish this here, and we're going to burnish in here. Okay, so get that burnished really well. And there's your waterfalls in, ready for you to add pattern paper and decorate. So then bring this in. So we have our another magnet set, another large set, and you're going to peel the backing off. And I'm going to put it on the top, the smaller flap, center it, and put it about 3/4 of an inch down, right there. Stack that on there, and pull the backing off of this one. Now this one's important to line it up properly. So pull your bottom one up, make sure your 1/4 inch is standing up down here at the bottom. Position it where it's going to fold, and then you want to make sure your 1/4 inch up here is also standing up. So lay this down and just kind of let it fall. Get it even. Okay, a little bit. Trying to make sure it kind of looks even. Press down. Oops, needs to go down a little more. And make sure you're catching it here. Okay. Okay, so now we have it attached down and we're ready to decorate this. So we'll go ahead and work on other sections inside. We'll double check and see what we need to do, and then I'll come back. Okay, I forgot to share, you will want a photo mat to go underneath your waterfall belly band. So I cut mine. You need one. You could do a couple if you wanted to. I'm going to put one. It's 4.5 by 7. Looks like 7 3/4. And I am going to round the corners of mine on this one. So I have my corner jumper. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch corners again. And of course this will have pattern paper on it on one side at least. And then it's going to just slide underneath here and fit right there underneath that waterfall section there. Okay, so now turn it over. And luckily we do have everything lined up correct. This is your flap on the top, and this is your top of your waterfall. So turn it over so that you have it opened up and your hinge is open here to the left. At page set 2, we're going to add a vertical pocket on the left side. So you're going to want to cut one piece that's 2.5 by 9. 2.5 by 9. Score your 9-inch side at 8.5, ½ inch. Turn and score your 2.5 inch side at a ½ inch to make a pocket. Okay, and then we're going to cut these corners out. ahead and fold these up and double check them. Okay, and burnish. Go ahead and erase my pencil notes, especially where they will show. I'm just going to go ahead and erase it all. Okay, grab your page set. Make sure we've got it the right side. Let's see here. So this is the front. Here's the top. Let's open it up. Hinge to the left. That's correct. Then we're going to take the fold of this pocket and it's going to attach right here. Now you could put pattern paper first if you want to, but I'm not. I'm going to cut it to fit in the pocket. So I don't have to do the full size, so I can use a smaller piece of paper. So take the glue and put it on the hinges on the back, the hinge flaps on the back. And we're going to line the fold of the pocket to the fold line of the hinge. So turn your hinge under, that way you can see it better. And just line that edge up and make sure this edge down here and up here line up the top and bottom of your page. And then burnish your hinges here. For page set 3, we're going to add the fold out pocket on the front of the flap. So you would have your hinge to the left, your flap here on the right, but we want it closed like this. This is where the pocket element's going to go, right here. So this is the way it's made in my prototype Halloween book. Here's the pocket here, and then this all folds down. So we're going to make that, and then we'll make a pocket for inside here, as well as stacked waterfall here at the top. So we're going to work on all this next. Okay, so for the pocket piece, we need to cut one piece that is 6 inches by 4.5. And we're going to score this 6-inch piece at 5.5 and 1/2 inch. Turn so that you're scoring on your 4.5-inch side just at 1/2 inch. So that's the pocket. I didn't take notes on that one. And then we have the fold out piece, which is 12 inches by 5. Make sure that's correct. That fits down in here. So you're going to score your 12-inch side at 4 and 8. To attach this into your book, I'm going to go ahead and fold these up. Attach this into your book, you need a little hinge. And this is a piece that's cut. I want it a little smaller. I don't want it sticking out. So I cut it 4 7/8 long by 1 inch wide. And you're going to score the 1-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay, so those are the pieces for that. So first on your pocket, go ahead and cut your corners. So you don't have to score that. No, there it is. Okay, couldn't see my score line. Okay, cut your corners out at an angle here so that it lays down nice and flat. And fold those up and check your corners. Really give it a good burnish here. We want to make sure it lays down. So the fold down here, so fold it so that you have a fold here and then cut here. So it's going to look like this, like a Z. So that your fold is right here. I'm going to take my pencil so I don't get confused, and I'm going to put add pocket. That's the one with cut at the top, fold at the bottom. And then I'm going to open it up, and this back here on a right hinge, that's where the hinge is going to go. Okay, so first let's do the pocket. So I have it already folded up. I'm going to go ahead and notch the center. So this pocket's going to be added right here. Now, if you see a little bit in there, I'm going to put a scrap of paper all the way across the top, about an inch wide, to finish that on the inside. I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So I'm putting glue on the back of the hinges. As soon as I get the dried glue off the nozzle, here we go. Oh, it dried inside for me, so I'll take the pen and clean that out. Okay, sometimes you have to do that because I don't always put my pen back in while I'm working. There we go. Put the glue on. This is the back of the hinges right here of the pocket. And where you wrote add pocket, you've got your fold down here, cut edge up here. We're going to put the pocket right here. Make sure you're lining it all up. See that on mine? I've got a little bit of extra sticking over here. And I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that up. So if yours ends up being like that, you can do the same. Just trim off the excess so that it's even right here at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish this really well because I want this pocket on here on the front. So the pocket is on the front. Then we have our hinge here at the back. So I want a hinge here. So put glue on one side of your hinge, and with the fold side facing up, attach that hinge to the top edge. And it's not going to go all the way across because I wanted to make sure that it didn't stick out on the ends, but you want the fold to go all the way up to the edge of the piece here. So I don't have mine too far down. Move it up. Okay, line it up right here. There we go. And burnish that down. So this hinge is what's going to attach to the page. So you want it at the fold of the hinge at the top of this. Okay, so let's grab our page. Here on the front, we've got the hinges to the left, our flap fold to the right. We're going to take this hinge. I'm going to double check to make sure everything fits right this time. A little bit big. Little bit big here on one side. Now this is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to cut a sliver off. All the way. So make sure everything is cut right. I think I cut it maybe just like a hair off, because it is sticking out a little bit on my pocket there. Okay, so I still have my pocket. I'm going to double check, see if that fits a lot better. Okay, I think it fits. So before attaching your pocket to your piece, or even assembling the pocket, double check and make sure this is going to fit within here. Okay, so I think that's going to work. And when this is folded up like this, pocket on the front, folded, hinges on the back like this. So here's the front, get your notch for your pocket, flip it over, hinge should be on the back laying here like this. So we're going to open this up so I can see this up. I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch hinge back here. And carefully turn it over, and we're going to attach that hinge within this part here, clearing, leaving the 1/4 inch, attaching it to the hinge fold to the bottom of the flap. So it's going to be like this now. So when you close your flap, you have your pocket and it folds down. Okay, so there's that. Here what we make next, we need a pocket here on the inside, so I'm going to cut that and then we'll attach that in as well. Pocket that goes underneath or behind the fold out piece. We want to cut this 6 inches by 3.5. Make sure I get it cut right. 6 inches by 3.5, and we're going to score the 6-inch side at 5.5 and a half. Turn, score your 3.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. Cut the corners at an angle. Fold those up and check them. Okay, so there's that pocket. Let's go ahead and put the notch in. Grab our page. So we want to make sure our fold down pocket's here on the bottom. Open this, fold this back, and this is going to go right in here, right above this fold. So right along the fold line. So make sure it fits in here. And add glue to the back side of your hinges. Line it up on both edges and across the bottom, so it's going to go along the fold of the hinge here. So you have half the hinge on the bottom side, the back side of the fold out. So the pocket, you don't want the pocket over this part. You want to make sure the bottom of the pocket is within the area of the page. So it's like that. So now we have a pocket. We'll add pattern paper in there. So next, let's do a booklet that goes inside here. So I have cut one that is 12 inches, 6 3/4, and you're going to score your 12-inch side again at 4 and 8. And then we fold it up like this. I'm going to go ahead and erase this notes. It can open to either direction. I have mine like this, and I added a tie to it. But this is what goes in this pocket. And because it's a booklet, it's going to keep that down nicely. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to do it stacked up here underneath. So let's take this booklet out. You want 3 pieces that are 3.5 by 4. And we're going to score all 3 pieces on the 4-inch side at a 1/2 inch. I have these 2 already done. I ran out of little sticky notes. That's what I like to use, little sticky notes, so I can just peel them off. Okay, so these are going to be stacked. This is going to be covered, but I'm going to erase it a little bit better here. Okay, these are stacked, like stacked pages or photo mats. Not quite a waterfall, but made similar. Okay, you just stack them even instead of staggering. So fold and burnish your score lines, and you're going to take one with this folded back. You're going to take the hinge of the next one folded back, put the glue on the hinge part on the back side, glue this fold line to the fold line, make them even, of the other piece. So that should be squared up all the way around, sides and bottom, just like that. So you have it attached together. You still have a 1/2 inch on the back side. Then you take the third one, do the same thing, put your glue on, and stack it right down. You want the fold of this one to the fold of the others. And line these up, square them up, burnish. And now you have that with this flap. And that flap is going to go here. I'll open up this flap here. So it's going to go at the very top. And I'm going to center it. So you put your glue on this last hinge back here. I'm going to center this piece. Line this up to the very top. And burnish that in. So there's your little flaps there. Your booklet goes into the pocket and holds that all down. And then this opens up. So this is the front of page set 3. You've got your hinge to the left. So this is what it should look like right now. Elements to add to page set 3 are these 2 flaps that go on the inside. Right here we have one on the left and one on the right. So let's go ahead and get those cut and scored. So the one to the left side, you need to cut 5 3/4 by 8, and we're going to score the 5 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch. Then the one for the right, we're going to cut this at 5 1/2 by 8 and score the 5 1/2 inch side at a 1/2 inch, just like that. Actually, I wrote on this side, it actually needs to fold the other way, so it's going to fold like this. Oops. So my hinge goes on the right side, and with the flap opening this way. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. I know that this one goes on the right. So I'm going to turn it, and I'm just going to take my pencil and put an R right, and then this one folds this way, and I'm just erasing all the instructions that I needed to tell you on video, so you don't have to do as much of that as I do, and put an L on the left flap. So grab your book. So here we have the hinge on the left. I'm going to fold it under. I have my pocket, fold out pocket flap here. I'm going to open it up. So I've got it here. This is our base pages, base page flap instructions. I'm going to erase all of that, or most of it. Okay, and after this, the pages are actually assembled. I just need to show you how to do pockets also for the cover. It's a little off right there, so here we go. Just take your glue and put it on the back side, the back hinge area. And my glue is stuck again. Let's see if that works. here we go. There we go. So this is going to go to the right edge of this section here, and you want to make sure it doesn't cover up your 1/4 inch piece right here. So there we go, right there. We're going to burnish that down. And then this one on the left is going to go to the fold of the hinge, to the folded under, to the fold of the page hinge. Page hinge folded under, and then I'll line this one up, folded edge to folded edge, like this, and then open it up and burnish. So now we have those big flaps there on the inside, and there's that, and that is page set 3. We're going to make this angled pocket for inside the front cover and also inside the back cover back here. So we're going to cut out 2 pieces that are 5.5 wide by 6 tall, and we're going to go ahead and score them first. So on the 5.5 side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 5. That's on both pieces. Turn it. This one's already been cut down at the bottom. But you're going to turn it and score at 1/2 inch. So let me show you on this one. The 5.5 inch, the top, score at 5 and at 1/2 inch. Turn and score the 6 inch side at 1/2 inch. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut these bottom corners out at an angle like that. So I already have this one done, that, and then this one's also ready. Like that. Now we need to cut our angles. Okay, so I am going to place this with the 5.5 inch at the top, and I've marked, pencil marked here at 3, and then I've turned it and pencil marked at 3 5/8 right there. So I'm going to turn this the same way, that way I can flip it over. I'm going to mark it at 3, turn it, what did I say? Three and 5/8. Let me write this down. 3 5/8 and 3. So this one I've already marked here at the 3 inch. So I turn it. Now this is with your hinges open. 3 5/8. And then you take your ruler and you're going to draw a line from each pencil mark, and then cut that right along the line. So you turn it, so this one's going to be going, well, the way you got to turn them the way you're supposed to. So 3 5/8 mark to 3, cut this away. So you have one layout like this and one like this. So they should match up pretty well. Okay. And those are your angles pockets. So grab your book, open it up, and on the left side, your pocket is going to attach here, and the angle is going to go the opposite way on this side. So we're going to go ahead and glue these in by putting glue on all 3 hinges. I've left this short hinge because I want what I put in the pocket to not fall out. So put this here, and it's going to go flush with the pattern paper. So that means it doesn't go all the way to the edge and all the way to the bottom, but make sure that it's lined up about 1/16 of an inch from the edge. And then I'm going to press it down and burnish it. Make sure it is even across the bottom and on the sides here. So there's your pocket right there. And then we do it the other side. You can get your glue on. And again, we're going to glue it to the far edge. There. And across the bottom here. Okay, and burnish down. There you have an angled pocket. I think they're sometimes called library pockets. I'm not positive. I've been working on adding my pattern papers to different sections of the page sets. On page set 3, I need to show you real quick. You do need a magnet. I forgot that you need one in here. So I had already patterned this pocket, and this is a good place to put it. So it's not going through all the thicknesses of this pocket. I put one on the back side. Let me unfold this. So here's the pocket with the notch, and you open it up. You put a magnet. Oops, this is really long. Okay, let me turn it down. So there's your pocket on the front with the notch. You open it back. Put a magnet here, one of the plus or the minus, right here in the center. Okay. And I'm going to take some score tape and secure it down. Then I folded this back up the way it's going to go. So accordion style, fold it all the way back. So this one with a fold here, you bring it down, and where your pocket is, this is where I matched up to the magnet. So this way, this holds, it's still kind of loose a little bit, but it does hold, and then the booklet goes in the pocket. So you want to make sure, and I already put the solid matching paper down. I'm going to put a border strip here. I was going to put something decorative anyway, so that's going to work out just fine. So I want to make sure that you know to put a magnet set in this fold out section here. So I have been cutting and adding pattern paper to my page sets and the inside cover here. I want to show you real quick what I have done so far, and then we'll go ahead and put our pages in. So I did decide to go ahead and put some pattern paper here in the middle. I'm leaving the space here where it folds. This is the cover. I'm leaving that craft, but I wanted this to be finished here at the top because the pages don't go the full length. So I added this piece here. It's cut 2 inches wide by, let's see, I think it's, yeah, 8 3/8. So just cut a piece of scrap or whatever you have, and I used the red plaid because I thought it would be really pretty. So here I've patterned my inside pockets with solid. And to do these angle pockets, what I do is I cut mine, the rectangle piece, 1/8 of an inch smaller in height, 1/8 of an inch smaller in width. And then I lay it down underneath and draw me a line, and then I cut the angle. So sometimes it's not exactly perfect, and that's okay. So in here I have my different mats that I've cut. Those will be in the cut list down below in the description. And I'm going to be going back and on my own doing some patterning paper with that. I have made some tags out of some of my scraps. This one is pieced because I didn't have quite one wide enough, so I used a solid and then a pattern there, and I kind of like the way that turned out. So that's the cover. Let me grab our page sets. So page set 1, I forgot to show you the ribbon closure, and I patterned some of mine before I added it. So it should go underneath this piece of paper before you pattern this flap. So it should go right in here. Since I had already patterned mine, I took a square of patterned paper, attached the ribbon, and then glued that up to the top of the belly band. So that works just fine. When this is tied, this kind of helps hold that. So you want the ribbon on the side with this one flap, and then you want the other end within the hinge, because you can't put it all the way around it, it'll hinder the hinge. So you want to attach it right there so that when this goes into your book, you have your ribbon tie here. That's if you want to tie. Okay, so I've matted all my flaps that I wanted to. Added a mat here, some chipboard pieces. I'll be showing all the finished detail later. And again, as I said, these mats will be listed in the description below. So I matted these flaps. I have my mats in here that I need to finish. And this one's the magnetic one. I did it plain on the back, white, and then here on the front. And then these, again, these are done the same. I did not do the back sides. I'm not sure if I will be or not because, like I said, I'm trying to conserve paper. These are the mats. So I did a solid in here. These, again, I cut 1/8 of an inch shorter on the width, 1/8 of an inch shorter on the full length of this here, and then I lay it underneath and draw and get the mat cuts. So that's the mats for that. And then the back side here we have a flap, and I did piece this part here because I wanted to use this plaid, and then I didn't have it wide enough. So you're going to have to play with your scraps and things that you want to use. That's page set 1. Fold this, tie this up because we're going to be putting this in the book here in just a bit. So I'll tie that up so it'll be out of the way. So that's page set 1. Page set 2, I patterned the front of the flaps, the pocket, and inside here. Didn't have to go all the way down. I just patterned it down enough where I needed it. So again, I'll be working on all these mats later. This flips open, so I did a solid piece here. So I utilized the solid quite a bit to stretch everything. This pocket, I'll be adding some decorating. I did some piecing here. This is not a belly band. I added a chipboard piece here. I really love that barn. Isn't that pretty? Merry Christmas. And on the waterfall, all I have done so far is the front and back of the flaps. And then the first one here, have not decided if I'm going to do any. I will probably do strips from scraps, and I have not matted the mat underneath, so that can stay craft if I want to. So that's page set 2. Page set 3, I matted the front of this pocket. I also just matted the front of the booklet for now. And so when you flip this down, I did put a piece of scrap inside this pocket down about 1 inch so that you see the notch here. So when this flaps down, I did use solid, except for the very first one on those. And then this one I did pattern front and back, the little triples, but I used the solid paper. I made a tag. I have the mats in here, and then I papered the front and then the pocket, and I did a piecing on it. And this one I did make it into a tuck spot, so you just glue the bottom edge and the end so that you can tuck a tag in there. So those come down, and this like that. And then this opens up, so I did use pattern paper here on these inside flaps, and then the solid in the white and red. And this is actually the white artisan cardstock because I was running out of the white on the back of the, I need the solid colors that come with the collection. And then the back side is the solid red. So those are our pages. So I'm ready to put them in our book. So first thing we're going to do is grab some store tape. And let's see, let's use 3/8 inch on this. And I'm going to put them, the tape, I'm going to open up the hinge. So this is the front of page set 1, and this is where the tape is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape off where my ribbon is, because I want to use the wider tape to attach the page down. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this tape off backing. That way I can recover it. And for some reason I had to use 2 to make sure it's secure, so I just want to pull this out if I can and still keep my ribbon attached. So we have our score tape in the 3/8 inch size, and I'm going to put it right in the center, oops, of my hinge, the 1/2 inch hinge, right in the center, not over the fold. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish your backing down really good. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the tape on all 3 page sets. So we have page set 2. So this pocket's on the front side. And if your tape extends down a little bit, snip that off on the end. And then we need page set 3. Again, open up your hinge. This pocket should be on the front side here. And if you notice, I keep my score tape on this Score Pal stacker. If you haven't ordered one or don't have one, check out countrycraftcreations.com under, I believe, tools, and it's called the Score Tape Stacker. So you can stack all your score tape on it, and you add weight like sand or something into the inside of it to weight it. And then I also stick my pins in the little lid part because they go in, so I don't lose my glue pins. So go ahead and put this one down. I need to quit talking and go ahead and get this done. And we're ready to get them into the book. So we put this away and burnish. Okay, so we gather them together and we're ready to put them in the book. And I just want to do some double checking, and then we'll do that. We're ready to put the pages within this spine piece. So I'm going to take page set 1, the one with the ribbon, and I'm just going to peel down a piece of this score tape backing right here at the top. Okay, so I'm going to fold it so that it's coming out of the edge this way towards the front. So just fold it back, and then I'm going to raise up my front cover. Make sure it is your front cover so your angle pocket opens to your right here. And I'm going to hold this up so that I can kind of eyeball it. And I want to place it, I'm folding the hinge down. I want to place it about 1/8 of an inch from the pattern paper line, and about 1/8 of an inch from the top and the bottom. So I'm going to place it down. I have not done any other peeling off the backing. And I'm going to just look at it here at the bottom, see if it's straight. It's a little further down at the bottom than I wanted. Let's see here. 1/4 inch. Okay, that's about right. So once it's in place, I'm going to go ahead and peel this other tape backing off. Press this down. Now you'll notice that the ribbon now goes underneath the hinge, and I'm going to burnish this right here. Okay. I'm looking for my other bone folder to really burnish that hinge. Now then, I'm going to let this fall down. We're going to take the second one. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to peel off some of the tape backing and fold it so that it goes to the finished center here, and then we'll fold back the hinge. Now then, the fold of this is going to attach right up against the line of the cardstock of the other 1/2 inch. So I'm going to line this up, make sure they're lined up straight. At the top, you want it to be the same. So it comes out the same at the bottom edge. Right up against this half, so you want a 1/2 inch hinge showing here. You want this space in here, covering up the pattern paper. And you've got it lined up in here. Now go ahead and pull your backing off and burnish. So we're going to have a 1/2 inch space between each page set. And if you don't like the craft look here in between, you can certainly cut 3/8 inch strips of paper and cover that on the inside as well. But the reason I wanted this pattern paper on here because I wanted the edge of it, and I also wanted the top and the bottom. So let's take our last page set, peel that backing off again, this part of it, and I'm going to fold it towards the center. And then again, I'm going to line this up, fold my hinge back, this where I can grab it, pull it off, and I'm going to attach the hinge down along that 1/2 inch section right there, the fold of the hinge of the page set 3, right along the cut edge of the hinge of the previous page set. And pull your backing off and burnish. So I do have more room here on the back. I could have scooted this one over a little bit, but it's still going to work out fine. It's lined up. So you have a little bit extra room back here in the back. So I would suggest moving this over probably, I would say, 1/4 inch, at least another 1/4 inch, and that would balance it out. So you would have a 1/4 inch on each side. Now I have been doing my decorating with my pages here, and I got to where I had the 3rd one in, and I've decided that the 3rd one has way more elements, what with the waterfall across from it, that I needed more space. So I took my undo. Now you can use undo. This is a adhesive remover. It will only work on tapes, not on glue. Once glue is set, it will not work on glue. So I know that it will work on score tape. To just gently, you put this part underneath it and you just peel it right on it, let the liquid flow underneath, and it will melt it off, and then let it dry. So mine's completely dry now, and I've put new tape on the hinge, the back of the hinge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot this over, and it will have more of a space here, so then I will cover this section up. But this will give me more room in here for all this, for the booklet and for the waterfalls and things. So I'm just going to attach it on like I did before, but I wanted to pop in real quick while I was decorating and add it in so that you would know that instead of butting this up, if you're going to have a lot of elements on this stuff, you might, with this waterfall and this element here, is space it out, and that's perfectly fine in an album to have different gusset spaces in between. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that down. So that's the pages, and they will lay fairly flat within the hinge here. I mean, we have a lot of real estate going on in here. We have a lot of pockets and flaps and things. But there's your book, and there's the cover. I will be doing my decorating of my cover, the rest of my tags, and different adding elements in on my pages. I will be doing that off camera. There will not be a video tutorial of that, but I will do a share video showing you exactly what all I've done so that you can see it and get ideas. So this is the tutorial for this album. This is the Farmhouse Christmas for Country Craft Creations. I want to thank you so much for following along. If you make an album, I hope that you share photos of it on the private Facebook group with Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. If you're not a member, you're welcome to join. You do have to answer, I believe, 2 or 3 questions to be approved. It's very important that you answer those questions on Facebook if you're joining that private group. Otherwise, your membership, you will not be approved to join. So we just have to make sure that you're a crafter and that you're really interested and that you understand the rules, that it is a group strictly for Country Craft Creations products that are sold at the store. So check out Country Craft Creations online. It's an online store where you can get this collection. The Mega Pack may be already sold out, I'm not sure, but you may still be able to get the individual papers and all the elements that I used in mine, and other supplies like your artisan cardstock, the craft that I have here, the solid paper pack that goes with the Farmhouse Christmas, your score tape, your art glitter glue, seam binding ribbon, lots of things like that. So check it out online at countrycraftcreations.com. And if you haven't already, I invite you to join my channel by subscribing to my channel. And then once you hit the subscribe button, you can click on the bell, and then you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So again, thank you so much, and enjoy crafting, and have a great time. Bye-bye.